welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be a follow-up tutorial for the halter neck pattern tutorial that we just had in our last class. In our last class, we learned how to create patterns for the halter neck top. So in today's class, we're going to be learning how to cut and sew our halter neck top. So if you have not already watched the previous tutorial how to create these patterns, so I advise that you go and watch that one first so that you'll be able to follow along with this tutorial. Now that tutorial is just the last class we had, the last video tutorial just before this one. So please go ahead and watch it so you can follow along very well. And remember, as always, if you had not already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and then like and drop a comment for me so that I'll know what you think about this video. You're also allowed to share this video as well. So right now, let's get our fabric and then place our patterns on our fabric and cut them out. So to make our halter neck top, you will need just about 1 meter of fabric. And the fabric I'm using is a light rayon fabric. You can use any light to medium weight fabric for yours. Now you're going to fold your fabric. I've already folded mine. Place your patterns on top. And then you're just going to cut. Now another thing you will need is some fusible interfacing. You're going to need it for the armhole so that it will stay very well, and you're going to need it for the neckband as well. Then you're going to need a zipper, an invisible zipper or a standard zipper depending on you. So you're going to need zipper for the back closure, and that's it. So now we can go ahead and cut. And to cut out our fusible, you're going to use the same pattern for your armhole facing and your neckband facing. Place it on top of your fusible and cut it with the same pattern. So to start stitching, you want to first of all overlock your raw edges so that it will have a finished look. And now you're going to place the center back pieces together like this with the right side facing the right side of the fabric. And then you're going to start stitching from somewhere here all the way down to the hem. You're going to leave a little opening for your zipper. So when you finish installing your zipper, just like this, the next thing you're going to do would be you're going to run gather stitches on your neckline like this on both sides of your center back neckline. We're going to set that aside first, and then you're going to do the same thing for the front. Now you're going to notch your center front. So I already notched mine. Notch it, and then you're going to run gathered stitches on your neckline as well. Then once you've done that, we are going to stitch our front and back piece together at the side seam. So you place them together just like this, and then with the right side of the fabric facing the right side of the fabric, and then you're going to just join it, stitch it from one end all the way down to the hem, and then you do the same thing for this side as well, from one end all the way down to the hem line, and make sure to open press your seam allowance. So once you are done stitching the side seam, you're going to have something like this. Now you cannot pull your gathers on your neckline. So you take the 2 threads at the back or the 2 threads in front, whichever, and then you pull it. So you make sure that the back side, the neckline on one side is the same thing, the width of the neckline on one side is the same thing as the other side, and one side is not wider than the other side. So once you're happy with that, we're going to set this aside for the meantime, and then we're going to work on our armhole facing. Now you take your armhole facing, okay, make sure to iron on your fusible for the armhole facing. I've already done mine. So you take one of the front and then one of the back. Okay, so this is my front, this is my back, so you pick one of each. Okay, so you're going to join them together at the underarm, just the underarm. You're going to leave this part open. So now you're going to take your facing, the one that you have joined together, front and back piece, and then you're going to place it nicely. This is the right side of my fabric against the right side of your armhole, just like this. Make sure to match the back against the back and the front against the front. So you pin it from one end all the way to the other end. So now you're going to stitch it from one end all the way down to the other end. And once you finish stitching it, you're also going to top stitch on it so that it will lie flat. Okay, so before you go ahead and top stitch, you're going to give the corners here, somewhere around the armhole here or the underarm, just give it a little snip so that you can relax very well when you top stitch it. Just snip it like that. Okay, and then you're going to now top stitch on the lining. Now to top stitch, you're just going to take all your seam allowance like this, move it towards the line, the facing, move it towards the facing, and then top stitch on it nicely all the way to the other end. So when you're done top stitching, you're going to have something like this, just like this, flat, nice and neat. Now be sure to press yours too so that it will come out very clean and neat. So once you've done this, now we're going to set this aside, and then we're going to work on the neck band. So for the neck band, you're going to take the two of them just like this, and then with the right side facing the right side, the part that is the upper part, you're going to stitch it just like this. And then once you finish stitching, you're going to top stitch it like the way we did for the facing for the armhole. You're going to top stitch it, move your seam allowance to one end and top stitch it nicely. Okay, so when you finish top stitching it just like this, I think before you close the corners, it will be better and easier to iron in your seam allowance. So you just go ironing your seam allowance on this side and on the other side, so you have something like this. And then now you cannot close the sides, so you flip it to the wrong side of the fabric and then you stitch it closed like this. Then you do the same thing for the other side and then iron it very flat. So now we are ready to attach our neckband to the neck of our top. So the first thing you're going to do is fold it just like this and then look for the center front. If you have notched it before, fine and good, but if you have not, just fold it just like that. Then just mark the center front. Okay, so that's my center front line. Now you're going to take it, one side of it, you place it against the center front. So you just place it against the center front here. Remember, we notched this before we gathered it. So you place it against your top center front. Use your pin to hold them together in place. Just like that. And then you're going to pin the rest. Now make sure you already stitch. You can stitch your facing now. You attach your facing together, or you pick them together with your neckline, just like this. Okay, and then you do the same thing for this other side. Okay, so once you've done that side, so you see how it's going to look like. Now you're going to continue it at the back side. Now from the back side here, you are going to start from your center back. So you just place the edge here on your center back line, just like this. This may be a little difficult. Maybe we have to open this part first so that we can actually stitch it. Well, whichever one is easier for you. Yeah, I think we need to open this part first to stitch it so that we'll be able to stitch it nicely. So anyways, so you place it like that. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open this side seam so that I'll be able to stitch it nicely. Then we can close it later on. And then you pin it, then you pin this side. Okay, and then you go ahead and pin this other side too. Okay, so now you're going to stitch from one end all the way down to the other end. So once you've attached your neckband and you're happy with the way it is, you can now cut off all your loose threads. Just like this. And take note, I had to open here a little bit so that I'll be able to fix it nicely. So now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to stitch on the edge here, just like this. You're going to close it up on both ends and then flip it to the right side now, and then you're going to top stitch on your neckline, just like this, from one end all the way down to this other end, so that it will look nice and neat. So now once you finish top stitching your band, you can either finish off the neckline by attaching a loop on it like this, or you can use the hook and eye like this and attach it to it so that you can close it up very nicely at the back here. So the only thing left for us to do now for this top would be to finish off the hemline. Now you just take your hem, fold it in like this, and then fold it in a second time, just like that. And then you stitch from one end all the way down to the other end. And then you give it a very good press. So once you've done that, that will be it for this class. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll really be looking forward to seeing your make. And please remember, as always, to subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. And drop a comment for me too, so that I'll know what you think. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer these questions. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in my next class. Until then, do have a blessed day. Bye.